What if I told you that the life you're living right now isn't even scratching the surface of what you're truly capable of? That everything you dream about, success, peace, strength, freedom, it's already inside you, but trapped behind one invisible barrier, your mindset. Now pause for a second, not just to hear me, but to really feel this. How many times have you stood at the edge of something better and walked away, not because you weren't good enough, but because a voice in your head whispered, "You can't"? How many opportunities have you let pass you by? Not because the door was locked, but because you never tried to push it open. You're not alone. Most people live like this. Most people don't fail because they lack potential. They fail because they surrender to fear. We live in a world that worships comfort. A world where safety is sold as success. Where staying the same is rewarded more than taking the leap. Where people would rather repeat pain they've learned to live with than risk the unknown that could set them free. Comfort is the cage. Routine is the lock. And fear? Fear is the warden keeping you from your own greatness. But here's what I came to tell you. One shift, one deep internal shift in the way you think can change everything. And no, I'm not talking about wishful thinking or fluffy motivational quotes. I'm talking about a warrior mindset, a mental transformation that flips the script on your life. A mindset forged in clarity, ownership, hunger, resilience, and action. A mindset that says, I'm done waiting for permission. I'm done hiding behind doubt. I'm done shrinking to make others comfortable. I am here to lead, to build, to conquer. I am here to rise. This mindset is what separates the ones who talk from the ones who build, the ones who wish from the ones who execute, the ones who settle from the ones who soar. And once you activate it, really lock into it, you'll see your life in a whole new dimension. Because the problem isn't your background. It's not your circumstances. It's not even your goals. The real problem is your framework, how you think, how you see yourself, how you respond when life gets hard. The moment you stop thinking like a victim and start thinking like the architect of your future, you unlock power you didn't even know you had. Your thoughts create your reality. Your beliefs shape your results. And if you can shift your mindset, you can shift everything. This is not about hype. This is a wake-up call. This is the moment where the old you ends and the new you begins. So don't just watch this to be entertained. Watch it to change. Watch it to become. Because if you're ready to flip the switch, then let's begin. Number 1, radical ownership. The first and most powerful mindset shift you need is this. Everything in my life is my responsibility. Not my fault, but my responsibility. And yes, there is a difference. Blame looks backward. Ownership looks forward. Blame keeps you stuck in cycles. Ownership breaks them. Because the moment you take full responsibility for your life is the exact moment you take back your power to change it. Most people never escape average because they've made a habit of pointing fingers. They blame their parents for how they were raised. They blame their boss for not seeing their worth. They blame the economy, the system, the school, the city, the weather, the time of year. And the more you blame, the more powerless you feel. Because if it's always someone else's fault, you're always at someone else's mercy. But when you say, no matter what happened, I'm taking ownership of what happens next, you shift from victim to creator. You shift from being a passive passenger to the one behind the wheel. Even if life handed you a rough deck, even if you didn't cause the chaos, you are still the one responsible for how you rise from it. That's not weakness, that's power, that's freedom. So stop asking, why did this happen to me? And start asking, what can I do with it? The power is in your hands, but only if you claim it. Number 2, growth over comfort. The second mindset shift is this. I will choose growth over comfort every single time. Because let's get honest, comfort feels good in the moment, but it's costing you your future. It's costing you strength, opportunity, purpose, power. Comfort is seductive. It wraps you in convenience and feeds you lies like, just rest a little longer, or you can try later. But comfort is a trap disguised as peace. Everything meaningful, confidence, resilience, transformation, achievement, lives outside your comfort zone. Growth doesn't happen in routines you've mastered. It happens in the uncomfortable space where you're stretched, where you're uncertain, where you're humbled and hungry. That's where you become more. And growth doesn't shout. It whispers, choose the hard thing. It shows up in moments where you'd rather quit but decide to keep going. When you wake up early, when you take that risk, when you show up for yourself with no guarantee of applause, it's in the sweat, the silence, the struggle. You're not here to coast, you're here to expand. You're not here to stay the same, you're here to evolve. And that evolution, it's not one big moment, it's one daily decision to choose the discomfort of growth over the illusion of comfort. Number 3, action over anxiety. The third mindset shift is this: I act, even when I don't feel ready. Because the truth is, if you wait until you're ready, you'll never do anything. Readiness is a myth. It's a mask anxiety wears to keep you small. Most people don't lack intelligence. They're paralyzed by fear. They overthink every step, waiting for a perfect plan, a perfect time, a perfect feeling, and they wait their lives away. Let me tell you something. Clarity doesn't come from thinking. It comes from doing. The minute you start moving, the fog begins to lift. But when you sit in fear, waiting for more courage to arrive before you move, that fear grows louder, stronger, heavier. Action is the cure. Momentum is your medicine. The most successful people you admire? They didn't wait. They didn't have all the answers. They didn't wait for perfect timing or for fear to vanish. They moved. With doubt, with fear, with uncertainty in their chest. But they moved anyway, and that's what separated them from the crowd. Because fear is loud, but it's also fragile. Every step forward cracks it. Every action you take is a declaration. I will not be ruled by what I'm afraid of. You don't need to feel confident to act. You need to act to become confident. That's how transformation begins, not with certainty, but with courage. Number 4, process over perfection. The fourth shift is this: I fall in love with the process, not just the result. Listen closely. Everyone wants success. Everyone wants results. But very few are willing to embrace what it actually takes to get there. The unsexy, repetitive, often invisible work, the grind, the patience, the discipline. That's where greatness is born. Perfection is a trap. It convinces you that if you can't do it flawlessly, it's not worth doing at all. But success doesn't belong to the perfect. It belongs to the persistent. Every master you look up to. They didn't get there by chasing perfection. They got there by falling in love with showing up over and over again. Repetition is the secret. Not talent, not luck. Repetition. You want mastery? You want change? You want transformation? Then commit to the boring stuff. The daily habits, the silent reps, the progress no one sees. That's where the foundation is built. Because when you value the process, you're free. Free to fail forward, free to grow without shame, free to become unstoppable. You stop obsessing over the scoreboard and you start building brick by brick. That's how legacies are built, through consistency, not perfection. Number 5, identity drives behavior. The fifth mindset shift is this: who you believe you are determines what you do. It's not your goals that shape your behavior. It's your identity. If deep down you see yourself as lazy, undisciplined, unworthy, your actions will always find a way to match that image. You'll self-sabotage. You'll pull back. You'll settle. Not because you want to, but because you're loyal to the person you think you are. That's why change doesn't begin with a to-do list. It begins with a new belief about who you are. You must tell yourself a different story, one that says, I am powerful, I am disciplined, I am the kind of person who does hard things. I finish what I start. I rise when I fall. And here's the truth. This isn't lying to yourself. This is uncovering yourself. This is reclaiming the strength that life, pain, and people may have buried. You are not your past. You are not your failures. You are not your mistakes. Who you were is not a sentence. It's a setup. You get to redefine what happens next. You get to show up today as a new version of you. And once your identity changes, your habits will follow. Your decisions will shift. Your energy will rise, because now you're not acting like the old you. You're building the life that the real you deserves. Number 6, abundance over scarcity. Mindset 6 is a game changer. I believe there is more than enough to go around. Most people walk through life believing there's not enough. Time, money, opportunity, love, success. They treat life like a competition, like it's one giant pie, and if someone else gets a slice, there's less for them. That's the scarcity mindset, and it will keep you anxious, jealous, and small. But abundance? Abundance says, there's space for me. There's room for my vision, my voice, my gift. Life isn't about competition, it's about contribution. You stop scrambling and start building. You stop comparing and start creating. You stop begging and start becoming. With abundance, you understand that collaboration is more powerful than competition. You root for others not because you're fake, but because you know their win doesn't threaten yours. You rise higher by lifting, not pulling, and suddenly you're no longer chasing with desperation. You're attracting with confidence. Because when you move through life knowing there's enough, you stop playing small, you stop holding back, and you start showing up like someone who knows, I don't have to fight for a place, I create one. Number 7, purpose over popularity. And the final mindset, the one that sets fire to everything else. I live on purpose, not for popularity. Too many people trade their purpose for applause. They shape their lives around being liked. They filter their truth to fit in. But let me tell you this, when you live for their approval, you'll die from their rejection. You weren't built for likes. You were built for legacy. You weren't made to blend in. You were made to break through. And the moment you stop seeking permission and start owning your path, the game changes. Because alignment is louder than attention. Purpose is more powerful than popularity. The people who make real impact, they're not chasing trends, they're chasing truth. They don't ask, will they like me? They ask, is this who I'm meant to be? That's how you build something that lasts. That's how you create work, art, businesses, relationships that are rooted in authenticity, not applause. So stop waiting to be chosen. Stop silencing your voice just to keep others comfortable. This is your life, your mission, your moment. You don't need a fan base to move with purpose. You need courage, you need clarity, and you need the guts to say, I know who I am, and I don't need you to get it. So there it is. 7 mindset shifts that will change your life. Not eventually, but immediately. Not because the world suddenly bends to your will, but because you change. And when you change, your world follows. This isn't just a feel-good message. It's a call to action, a blueprint, a fire in your chest that refuses to die. Now the real question is, what are you going to do with it? Let this be more than background noise. Let this be the moment your life splits in two, before this mindset and after. You don't need another podcast, another book, another excuse. You need a decision. You need to decide that today is the day you stop playing small and start showing up like the person you were born to be. So go, think bigger, move with power, speak with truth, and act like your future depends on it. Because it does. You're not too late. You're right on time. You were built for more. Now prove it.